And good morning. It's your favorite neighborhood Tironan. And I'm here to talk about the JU-88, or my second time in prison. We've just finished with the JU-87, um, and now we're at the JU-88. Now, the history of this bomber is actually long and storied. It was another creature of the late 30s development cycle in Hitler's Germany in the 1930s. And it did, thankfully, 1945. A German friend of mine asked me to put this in, and so I'm going to state it here. Please do not travel to Germany and start bringing up World War I and World War II to the German people. They are not the same countries. I'm in my 60s, and my uncle, who is considerably older than my father, had actually fought in the war. So what I'm trying to tell you is, I'm in my 60s, and it was my grandfather's war. Not even my father's war, my grandfather's war. And that means there's at least two generations between me and my average viewer. I imagine most of you guys are in your 20s and 30s, and a fair spackling of teenagers. And because of the amount of media attention that gets thrown out there, we all act like World War II happened yesterday. The average German knows about as much about World War II as we do, and maybe a bit more because they get it ground down their throats in school, because Germany made up its mind very early after the war that they were never going to do that sort of thing again. So going to Germany and talking about the Wehrmacht, and that doesn't exist anymore, by the way. The Bundeswehr and the Heer are the modern German forces, and they have been a force for NATO and in cooperation with their allies, and have never once crossed their borders since World War II. So I want to urge people to kind of forgive and forget and move on and treat this as an historic anomaly that happened back in your great-grandfather's or great-great-grandfather's time for most of you, and to leave it where it properly lays in the dirt. Okay? The modern German has nothing to do with that. And if you want to find out how quickly you can get kicked out of the country, go over there and start preaching neo-Nazism. They are not amused. They've got them over there. They think they're idiots. And I've got to agree with them. So, enough of that. Let's move on. This aircraft was designed as a fast bomber, and the majority of its variants were just that. They carried a couple of tons of bombs. They could get out there 600-700 miles, drop their bombs, come back, and at one point were fast enough to get away with it. That quickly went away with the advent of modern fighters, right? Or modern fighters for the time, anyway. They could get 500, 600 miles out there and were faster and quite capable of chewing them to pieces. This is one of the ground attack variants. And as you can see, it now carries a pair of massive 37 millimeter guns in the front and no bomb load. This is, in a lot of ways, makes it very similar to the JU-88 in operation, if not in design. Airspeed is very similar. Maneuverability is, well, and altitude performance is somewhat better. Survivability has gone up by 200 points, but now you're in a different tier where things are tougher too. So to say that this is, and this is a tier 6, by the way, where, you find things like P-51As, Spitfires, you're talking pretty BF-109Fs, things that can really dish out the hurt and are quite fast. There is no ordnance on it. And your rear gunner starts off as 40, which is where you ended up with your Ju-87 that preceded it. And when you upgrade it, it comes up to a whopping 64. Okay, so we'll upgrade the speed a little bit here, which is whopping 4 miles an hour. The upgrade you really want is going to be this one where you get the 50 millimeter, because you notice that the gun power jumps way up. So it's not bad here, but it jumps up another 200 something points. Yeah, it goes up 410 points. So you're really going to want that upgrade. Other than that, I'm going to assume that it's going to act exactly as it did before. See if I have anything in the depot. We'll go ahead and toss that in. If it's in the depot, I'll go ahead and use it. And I get these just from the fact of completing goals as I go through, missions as I go through. And other than that, the pilots here are nothing much. And so you're getting a pretty unmodified aircraft. We'll go ahead and go into battle. I expect it to act in very much the same way as the Ju-87, but we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Without the ordnance, you're again, it's going to, as I did in my last video, and I talked about the Ju-87 being a harsh mistress. Well, I expect this to be another one. In some ways, this is unfortunate because this is an aircraft that it's like grinding in a lesson. Stacking any two aircraft that behave this much alike can get very much like, reliving an experience. They did this with the Ki 43, 43-2 in the Japanese fighter line, where you had one really turny fighter and then a slightly upgraded really turny fighter that had the same limitations. So it was like flying a very slightly upgraded aircraft from before. There were more aircraft choices out there, so I would urge, for whatever it matters. Listen, I have no ends with World of Warplanes. They don't pay me. I'm not part of their creation club yet. Hope to get there one day. But that doesn't make it, but needless to say, I have no influence on World of Warplanes. But I would urge them, just from a guy in the spectator seat, to say, hey, look, this is what you guys are experiencing. Maybe a different aircraft would be a better idea. Okay, so we are now flying this thing, and you notice that we're really not doing more than about 200 miles an hour. It does have a lot of boost, but the aircraft is so slow compared to its various competition that it's not going to make a whole lot of difference in your survivability, unfortunately. Okay, all the things I said about target selection, being efficient, making sure that you wipe out the entire square, everything in a square before as quickly as you can, it still applies here. It may look different, it may be a bigger target, but it is a Ju-87 in operation, as well as fact. Given the fact there's no friendly fighters there, I can't do much about the target. So we're going to go ahead on and try to follow the fighters in. I hope that keeps us alive. Coming up over the mountains. This is not looking like this is going to be a lovely thing. We don't have nearly enough fighters here. Okay, let's go ahead and pick off the easy meat. Killing things that are partially done lets you steal targets, which we just did. Now I've done something pretty dirty to their side. I want to now get away very quickly. And how that was done was they had left a lot of targets partially taken care of, and I took care of those for them, finished them up, and therefore got credit for my side by doing that. Now I'm trying to use the canyon walls for cover, and I'm getting eaten alive. And the Corsair took me out. So if I get anything through from this video, watching your ground attack fighters, following them along, trying to protect them a little bit, will get you some major benefits. May not be glamorous, but it'll get you wins. And you want to keep caps. Alright. Watched a lot and was on losing teams a lot yesterday. And I watched lots of inexperienced players taking very sophisticated aircraft and fighting between caps. Chasing bombers. And don't get me wrong, shooting down bombers is fun. And you do occasionally have to take a couple out, but every fighter bot on your team is going to go there, and you adding to it is not going to help your side. Okay. So if I'm near one, I may pop off a bomber or two and then move on to the next target. But don't get me wrong, you're really not adding very much to your team. And these are short games. They are not going to reward you very well. For wasting time between caps. If you got a large majority of caps and you got the game well in hand, you want to catch fighters, bombers out there away from your caps, and you can afford it, then that's one thing. If you're looking and like we are right now, and you've only got a cap deficit going on, wasting time between caps is a dumb thing to do, because every few seconds you're getting further and further behind. Now, because of my experience with the JU-87, I know exactly how many shots I can get per pass. And I want to make sure that I'm using my time well to kill targets. Alright, because you see, once again, you're only going to have so much time over the target. But you'll notice we are losing caps. And I'm not going to point out players, but we're not doing a good job of protecting our caps. We're not doing a good job of protecting other caps, or taking other caps. And that's how you lose games. All right, I can't defend this base. In fact, I'll be lucky to be able to get out of this base without being killed. I am going to go full throttle and try to get away here before somebody realizes that I'm there to be killed. And there are players who, given any other choice, will go after ground attack aircraft because they can't fight back very well. And I've been known to do it myself, so please don't get the idea I'm picking on you, because I'm not. But do what you have to do, one for your team. While you're shooting, make every shot count.
Stay alert, pilot. Large enemy force spotted over the airfield. The enemy is about to win. Push harder.
Well, that was different. I actually had an aircraft player deliberately ram through me. Okay, the aircraft is destroyed. Look, folks, this is going to be your experience. All right, and there are aircraft that do a hell of a lot more damage in a shorter period of time than this particular aircraft is going to do. But I've been spending a lot of time in ground attack aircraft, whether it's an IL-8, it's a IL-10, it's a IL-20. That's the life of a GA bomber. You're going to go attack and attack and attack. You're not going to see a lot of fighter cover from friendly sides, because you got too many bots in there that are going to do what they're going to do, period. And you get way too many players that are either not interested in helping you or don't understand the value of their heavy fighters, multi-role fighters, and ground attack aircraft. So it is what it is. Get used to it, but you can make a major difference in your team's play. You notice that I got the center section for them pretty much unassisted. Well, that's not true. We had some fighters covering us then. But we've also kept fighters looking at defending their own base instead of trying to get over our cap. So ground attack aircraft always provide value if they're properly and aggressively used. And if you can keep them alive, they will turn the game for you. Okay? Can literally turn the game for you. Now, this was kind of a lopsided contest from minute one. Can't really do too much about that. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. You can win lots of you can get lots and lots of fighter kills and have essentially contributed nothing to the game. If you're in between cap points and you're killing fighters right and left, you're contributing nothing. Absolutely nothing to your team. And then I hear those same players, Tyr, why am I losing? I can't do any more than I'm doing. Well, this is the reason. Okay? Now, I play fighters, and I did the same thing. And it's a learning experience, folks. Now, I understand the game's in operation, and I probably play more than most people. and really get to thinking about what wins and what loses games for us a lot more than folks, average casual player can. But for what it's worth, there it is. All right, we destroyed 6 ground targets, did 21,517 damage, which for this aircraft is a lot. That's a lot of damage for a GA aircraft. Doesn't pay all that well. And came in about mid-tier. Okay, so this is going to be another slog. But if you want to go up the German GA line, these are two that you're going to have to go through it with. And so we're going to have to go upgrade the cannon, and hopefully that'll make a difference. Make me a little more efficient at it anyway. Here you get another 50 points of survivability, which keeps you over the target longer, and a little more maneuverability. I wish I could say it's going to make a difference to this aircraft. I doubt it. And then I could do another engine upgrade. I may get the turret. I usually will upgrade all the aircraft all the way through before I move on. I may do it with this one. I may not. The things that I consider to be important right now is this one, and then moving on to this baby. This, I've never flown it, but I've seen them in action. Looks to be a lot of fun. And after going through the grind fest that the 87 and looks like the 88 are going to be, this looks like it's going to be fun. And I can use some fun. So when you go through this and you get ordnance, oh my God, real bombs to drop. You can get the autocannon here, autocannon here, autocannon here. You get you start out at 64 and then go up to 128. And at 128, you start doing some damage, and aircraft start having to be careful of your rear stinger. These are faster aircraft, and by the time you get to there, they're still, Tier 7, folks. Don't get me wrong. This is not Speedy Gonzales, but it's a good, fast attack aircraft that can do some real damage, and it's got some ordnance, and has a lot of guns. So that should be some fun. And maybe the line will be a little more fun to hang out with. All right, let me know. To remember to like the video. If you do like the video, please subscribe. I'm a new content provider. We've been in operation just over a month, and we desperately need more subscribers. And so very much appreciate you and hope that you will subscribe. Look forward to seeing you again, and you have a great day.